Good day. My name is Egbert Schram, Group CEO at The Culture Factor, and in this short webinar, I'll be introducing our multi-focus model on organizational culture to you and how you can use it to make culture quantifiable. A little bit of background about myself. I've been working in this field for the last 20 years, overseeing the Culture Factor Group's operations and expansion across over 60 countries globally. Organizations ranging from small to large, from startup phase to established multinationals, they all struggle with the same question, which is, how do we make a topic such as culture measurable? In my book, Navigating Foreignness, published in December 2024, I've shown a more personalized approach to how do you do this at an individual level. In this presentation, I'm walking you through how do we make culture quantifiable at an organizational level, and how do we use that knowledge to guide successful and consistent organizational transformation. Organizations, especially organizations that have a more technical background, so finance, pharma, engineering, aviation, shipping, find our approach extremely useful because talking about a topic that is quintessentially emotional, which culture tends to become, can benefit from the numeric approach that we bring into this discussion. It doesn't take the emotions out of the equations, but it helps to put emotions in context. Think about culture as the oil in an engine and how long the engine is going to last. A Formula One engine is typically designed to only last that one particular tournament, if at all. If you buy a consumer car, the engine needs to last a lot longer. And the same equation holds true for organizations. Do you need people to work together fast, hit the ground running? Then you need to have a different type of culture than when you can afford people the time to get better acquainted with each other and therefore find a way of working that works for all parties concerned over a longer period of time. In the approach that the Culture Factor Group has with regards to culture, we pay attention to both these aspects. So what are the practices that we measure inside an organization, and what is the emotional sustainability of those practices? Depending on the labor market context, those emotions might become more or less important. If we move into defining what is culture, it's important to keep in mind that in our approach, we don't believe in good or bad cultures. Cultures simply help you to execute your strategy faster and therefore perhaps more efficiently, hence cheaper. You can, if you have enough money, execute any kind of strategy, but having the right type of culture will help you to do this in the most effective and efficient way possible. In our approach, we provide a consistent framework of first and foremost understanding what is the target, what's the target culture that you want to achieve? What are strategic restrictions to keep in mind? If you've just gone through a reorganization, people might feel mentally overwhelmed. So going through yet another cultural transformation requires a different approach than when people would be able to start afresh. When we talk about change, what are the things that you want to prioritize? Keep in mind that 83% of change processes fail because they are too large for too many people with too little actual meaning in what is it that needs to be changed. In our approach, we leverage insights into what are the cultural triggers that make change a bit like a snowball momentum. Small incremental changes in strategically sourced spots inside your organization that have the biggest effect downrange. And that also is where we normally stop our initial approach, which is ensure sustainability of that approach by training people inside your organization to carry forward that change momentum. Assessing the corporate culture, organizational culture, roughly every 1.5, 2 years, because more often than that is not really necessary. Change of culture takes some time. Leaders understand that culture is important, and the numbers you see in front of you speak for themselves. However, they also understand that they don't really understand what it is that they don't know. Only 15% of leaders understand or say their culture is there where it is supposed to be. And a lack of quantifiable information means that they often struggle to understand where do we need to change. And this is where the culture factor groups approach comes in handy, because we help you to understand what is the current culture. We help you to understand what is the type of culture that your employees want. We help you to build a bridge between that reality, the desire, and what is the culture you need from a strategy perspective. And on top of this, we help you to understand what does this mean for you as a leader. How can you leverage your own behavior to walk the talk? And that means that in our approach, if we think about who should be involved, the first and foremost answer is you as a CEO, you as an HR director, VP of culture, strategy director. If you are involved in setting the strategy of an organization, you have to be involved in setting what is the optimal culture that supports that strategy. In our metrics, we use a set of different surveys to understand what's the context in which you have to operate. Earlier on, I gave the example of a reorganization, but you can also think about you just have implemented an SAP or an ERP or any kind of big technology environment. This will impact people's mentality. That's contextual information that is useful to understand if and when you need to go through a transformation. We deploy a survey amongst a representative sample of the workforce to understand what are the current ways of working that they see. What are the desires that they have? And then we bring this all together in managerial debriefs. Think about our approach as a flock of birds. Depending on the tendencies that we spot inside the answers, the patterns, the variances in answers, cultures pivot to one or another direction. And in our approach, we use 6 dimensions of organizational culture to help you understand in which direction is your current culture pivoting, is the desired culture pivoting, and how do these correlate with your optimal culture, which is a choice based on your strategic direction. And that is what makes our approach unique. The patterns matter. The patterns give the direction where from we can derive the best possible approaches to change a culture should change be necessary. In other words, where our competition often gets stuck in perceptions, our approach captures realities, desires, and strategic directions. The model that we use, multi-focus model, consists of 6 organizational dilemmas, and in our workshops, together with the management teams, we pick positions that are of strategic importance. It's not only the position that is important, it's also the consistency that we get out of those workshops, whereby managers, executives can align on do they actually have the same understanding of their strategy and the operational consequences thereof. Because truth be told, if management teams cannot agree on what their strategy means in reality, that strategy will not succeed. The output of measurements, captured in both PDF reports but also in online dashboards to help for easy tracking, drilling down, and subsequent follow-up, allows you as a key stakeholder to keep a firm grip of the organizational transformation that you might want to go through. In our webinars that are scheduled regularly across the year, there is more space, obviously, for questions. In this pre-recording, I hope I have created enough interest amongst you, with you, to reach out to us and to engage in a discussion on what's the type of culture that can help you to execute your strategy in your context. I wish you a pleasant day.